Ти до мене приходив на кронштейни просив.
Hold on. We don't need to take everything out. I've showed everything before. I have another video where I was... It's a lot of work. Красиві.
Красивий.
Не красиві, але... Мама люблять тебе. Так. Okay. Finally, it's 10,000 euros Mavic components for 25 Brigade. They have one of the most sophisticated repair systems in the country. Previously, we've only been able to provide 5,000. It's now 10,000 components. I'll provide the entire list at the end of the video, but it gets deeper. Our yaw motors, for example, it's 4,000 grivna for one here. Why buy a Mavic 3T, 4,000 or 5,000 euros? These components we can repair 100,000 euros worth of drones. 4,000 grivna. Oops. The part that actually breaks is 600 grivnas. So now with communication, education, and from a lot of experience, I'm not only going to start buying components for Mavics, we're going to buy components for Mavics. And it works out better financially to do more work. Thanks for your support, guys. I want to continue my goal, 10,000 this month, 20,000 over the next 3 months. Please. Plus-minus. Я хочу. So thank you very much for your support. 4,000 grivna for a yaw motor. 600 for the component that breaks. So now we can repair components themselves. So we need to start buying components for components. And they didn't know how to do this a year ago for many things, but now they can. But some things are never going to change. Like a gimbal cable, we cannot fix. So we're gonna have to buy a lot of parts, but want to make a better collaboration. And it keeps getting better and more cost effective, because Mavic Munitions is not going to end. FPV changes every week, every month, but Rozvidka drones, hotels, Mavics, that's probably going to be used into the next war. So this is something we can do, and this is something that makes a big difference. So maybe if you want to not donate to a $30,000 truck with NAFO, maybe we can do something really powerful here. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I've got a second Princess of Donbass as well.
Oh.
Чи хто то постанов забув?
Ні. Вони казали, що їх там мав возять. Ну, написали мені, що їх возять, так? Вони працюють взагалі 2 на двічі на тиждень. So, they're removing the safety pins, you see, from the detonator. One safety pin. There are 2 safety pins inside. They put it up like this. You see?
Yes.
And then they insert the coin. Like this, you see? So, because actually this hole, it can trigger an explosion, you know, if it gets pierced. So the coin acts as a safety mechanism. So you see, he removes one safety pin, this one, and then... Там же 2 запобіжники, так?
Да.
Інерційний і... Ну там от один гумовий...
Вийшов.
This part. Ти сюди викидати, так?
Там и она должна...
Пружина?
Не-не-не.
Так,
А тут
випала.
выпало. Не-не, тут нужно было... Вот это нужно
And
было.
you see, and then you remove this part, you see.
Вот этот, и оно тут должно... Оно сейчас не выпадет, да, Руслан?
The shell, it's then put to the shell. And then we use a coin. Well, sometimes you need to press it. You need to be hard not to trigger, to press the central part.
Да, теперь оно опять не заходит. Ну, короче, нужно вот так вот зайти.
This will trigger the explosion. So that's why you put the gap to ensure it won't be exploded.
So there's no connection.
Yeah.
One of these.
This is how they work in it. So we can,
And as we see last night,
yeah,
they do a lot.
yeah. Removing.
Nice to meet you. Brandon, very pleasure.
And what's with your finger? You wrote me.
Huh?
You had troubles with it.
I broke it like 8 weeks ago. It's fine.
I do not here.
Not here. No.
Well, I will talk to the guys. So they told that for sure they will bring you once a week.
Can't turn it too fast, otherwise it heats up.
Yes.
So it takes like 2 or 3 rotations and a stop. Let it cool down.
It's like working with a rotary cutter,
Yeah, yeah. It's a good
except you can't use water.
way- yeah, yeah, exactly. It's a good way to put it.
Here's the original shell. So this is removed. This is being removed. 3D printed part here. This is removed. We take gunpowder out. We add the fin here, and it can be used as bomber munition.
I can see this is quite tedious for you.
Yeah, got 2 of us working right here, probably 3 to 5 minutes, I guess. And that's kind of a variant, but
Per shell.
yeah. After the cutting that we do, just to be able to get this part loose, and then the breaking right there, that's super quick. So if you've got 2 or 3
So
people,
they cut it with the jigsaw here.
grab one of those
And
for
then
them.
Yeah, you see, you cut it a little bit and then you pull it out. Like this.
Which that part takes less than a minute. It's just this part that is, like you said, tedious.
Ну, вони просто партіями їх роблять. Там they also cut the large caliber machine gun shells like this. It's
Like the
quite-
Shaka and
Yeah,
all this.
Deshika, like this, in order to remove this part and remove the small detonator, you know, that is stored there. You saw the whole 2 boxes of those. And then for those grenades, bacs that we saw
Yes.
earlier, this one, they were pulled out, you know, the gunpowder is put here. So first they remove this part with gunpowder, and then they start working on it by disabling the safety mechanism, remove into safety pins. So here they also remove the nose. Instead of this detail, they add the custom printed 3D details with safety pin, with needle piercing mechanism. Also the shell itself is removed. So normally it's like this. So first we need to screw out this nose, the trigger mechanism, standard trigger mechanism. Then they cut it like this, pull it out. Finally we got this. Then we screw in the custom 3D printed nose with safety pin. Once we add the fin, we tape it, and once in combat on the position, they pull out the safety pin from the 3D printed custom nose. They add the piercing needle inside, and once it's dropped from the drone, the capsule is pierced and it triggers an explosion of the munition. Cut it out of the shell. You see, just he has to unscrew the nose. Cool. They take this pipe just to take it out, pull it out. You see it breaks down there, and here you got the ammunition there. So they do it, and then they take the gunpowder, and they have different varieties of gunpowder. For example, 30 cal gunpowder they put into this canister. Vogue gunpowder they put into this small box. So we use everything. throwaway of things, you know, we will find any kind of thing.
Of course.
Crates, these are all Soviet made munitions, we have like a lot. Part.
Yes.
Then is the needle. So it has the fin, duct tape that attaches the fin, the 3D printed nose, the like trigger mechanism with a safety pin. So on a position they pull out the safety pin, this one. They put the piercing needle so it can pierce through the capsule and trigger an explosion. Once it falls down, so it falls down, the needle pierces the capsule and the explosion is being triggered. You see how it goes. It goes from the 30 caliber munition for armored personnel carriers to the munitions for bombers. So like the full cycle, you know. I mean, you could, you don't know. We don't know how long it takes to make one munition because we make it in batches. First we take a whole crate of 30 cal. We remove the frontal part. We screw it out. Then we remove the shell and with the gunpowder. Then we add the custom printed 3D nose with a safety pin. Then we add the fin, we duct tape the fin. And then only on the position, you know, they add the piercing needle. So it's like step by step, you know, and we practice it, we do it this way to ensure, you know, every person knows their role. So we're not like running around interfering with others.
Mm-hmm. Everyone stays in their lane, as we say. Arts and crafts.
Yeah, it's like custom made.
You don't waste anything.
Yeah. Shells.
And
Це для СПГ? It's for SPG, you know, like a stationary version of RPG. They receive the shells like this. They actually unscrew this part, so it's used for drones that are supposed to hit the armor. And then to this part they can add shrapnel, and it can be used by bombers or by FPV drones that are used against infantry. So this is how the standard version looks like, the one that we received from the factory. It's mostly for these stationary grenade launcher, SPG. But we transform it and we get the necessary munitions. It's a javelin shell. Javelin shell. Yeah, you see? Javelin shell.
and the process is more complex.
Yeah. The one that used to check the initiation mechanism. From the Deshka shells. So the detonators here I showed it. Those are larger detonators you see. the larger ones, more powerful ones that could like tear off multiple fingers.
Yes. Multiple fingers.
So that thing, this grenade, like mine, you know, first it was a hand grenade, anti-tank hand grenade with a cumulative vortex. Yet we cut it open, you know, to ensure the best hit to their armor. We put this large needle. It's where bombers carry it to the front line. They drop it down. They get stuck in the ground, and then when Russian armored vehicles drive above it, it simply creates the cumulative blast that burns through their armor from the lower part, so eliminating the personnel and the details. So this is like extremely lethal for their units. And because here in standard version it's like this, but also has a handle. Not this is custom made, but there is a standard handle like the World War II style grenade, you know, that you use to throw like this.
Achtung, Achtung.
Yeah, and it's closed. In standard variant it's closed, yet this is empty. You see, it's hollow because there is a cumulative vortex. Yet we open it up to create even more blast.
Like a sawed-off shotgun. It will be greater dispersion with a shorter barrel.
Yeah, so TNT. This is a TNT.
The blasting cap.
Yeah, blasting cap. An old one. Bunch of caps. They're removing these detonators like in enormous quantities on a daily basis. So. Roll.
Небольшой мониторчик.
They have a small monitor here.
Есть подобное такое на зимнотанке.
They have a ground station, you know, like this one.
Вот такое.
But you can, this is actually for the mast. This one plug is for the remote controller and the goggles.
Yes.
The video. So the power, you know, battery. You can plug in the batteries. Це заряджати батареї тут можна?
Нет, это питание подается сюда.
So you can put the batteries also. They provide energy supply. Here you can see switch video from 5.8 frequency to 1.2 frequency.
You are building your ground stations from nothing, or you are
Реально
buying
будуєте,
platform
чи ви купуєте платформи і вже тоді? From scratch.
from
It was built here from scratch. Everything was built here. The whole crate, screen, these things, everything was built from scratch.
Вот
So it's how it looks in the beginning.
сюда потом монтируются платки
They put
всякие.
different initiators,
Коннектора,
different plates,
кнопочки.
connectors, buttons, switches here.
Скільки коштує?
Яка ціна?
Плюс-минус.
Отакої станції.
Цена всегда варьируется, потому что
It's
комплектующие, которые покупаются, они
Ну,
то дешевле, то
плюс-минус.
дороже, как бы плюс-минус. Там 1040 будет. В общем, да, я думаю.
40 тисяч?
40,000.
Це готовий.
Да.
За готову станцію 40 тисяч
Да.
гривень.
Ну,
40,000.
в комплект от этого чемодана будут еще входить антенны, приемники, передатчики,
все 40
то есть то,
тысяч?
что выходит. Да.
So one full set would be around 40,000 гривень.
40,000 гривень.
Плюс-минус так. В зависимости от того,
Like
насколько
$1,000.
вырастают.
I mean, but it's like the minimal that will be functional.
Of course.
So, depending on the task, it might get higher and higher and higher. So
50,
it's like,
60.
yeah, 50, 60.
Все цена зависит от того, какие комплектующие хотят ребят.
It depends on what kind of, hardware the guys want, for digital drones. This is how they use. And you see they have been signed.
В даному дроні була заміна переднього правого променя в зборі. Також було відремонтовано підвіз камери та пропаяні елементи на системній платі. Тепер дрон буде виконувати бойові завдання на Покровському напряму. Велика подяка Брендону Мітчеллу.
В даному дроні було проведено заміну нижньої кришки, заміну каблука, шарнірного механізму, заміна шлейфа камери, яв мотора, заднього променю, корпуса камери, шлейфа нижніх віженів. Також зроблено ремонт підвісу камеру і ремонт заднього і переднього променю. За надані деталі дякуємо Брендону Мітчеллу. Тепер даний дрон буде виконувати бойові завдання на Покровському напрямку. В даному дроні було проведено заміну шлейфа камери, заміну рол мотора, кронштейна яв двигуна, заднього лівого двигуна променя і чистка правого, і ремонт підвісу. За надані деталі дякуємо Брендону Мітчеллу. Тепер даний дрон буде виконувати бойові завдання на Покровському напрямку.
Okay, I just finished running 21 kilometers. I needed a break. I blew out my hip flexor. I needed to stretch. I took a water break and I ate a Snickers because I'm not here to punish myself. And I'm glad I did because it's put me in a much better state of mind for the conclusion. I humbly put before you that supporting me in the effort to acquire not FPV, but reconnaissance drone parts from retail drones for Matrice, Autel, Mavic drones that you can buy off the shelf, for me to continue to buy the parts, the components, to buy better components, to buy cheaper components, components of components, that it is the greatest return on investment of any public platform that you can find in English that I am aware of. I say that quite boldly, but also with humility, that I think I have wasted potentially 15% of your money. Pissed it up against the wall. I could not account for 9% of the money the last time I did a financial review, August 23. It's been a long time, but everybody has sent me the Excel spreadsheet, so I know where the money's gone. I can prepare another one, probably in the next few weeks. I would really like to get it off my chest. But I've invested in people who I had less information than I do now, and I would not invest in them. Not only Ukrainians, foreigners that may have YouTube channels in Ukraine. You know, I do the best with what I have to work with. The best with the knowledge I have to work with, my experience I have to work with, my own mental state, which can alter from time to time. And I try to delay on making decisions whenever possible. Nothing couldn't be solved over a night's sleep, a cup of tea, a cigarette, God forbid, a run, but that they be made timely. Yes, all that being said, I admit I make mistakes. Do other people admit they make mistakes? Do larger organizations like your NAFOs admit they make mistakes? Does the Red Cross, the UN, the Pentagon, does the White House currently admit that they make mistakes? Heavens to Betsy's, no. But I'm telling you, and I've been trusted with probably about $1.5 million, maybe $2 million worth of material and cash to dispense of as I see fit. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I have made mistakes. But from the bottom of my heart, from everything I have seen, my experience, my knowledge, my trade, my craft, buying drone components as efficiently as possible and effectively as I have managed with the help of an EU defence contractor and cooperation for 25 Brigade is the best return on investment I have ever seen out of a foreigner in Ukraine. That has a public platform, because there's some people who work in the shadows and they do things you'll never know about, and I'm aware of some and not of others. But yes, I think you should donate to me. I think the big organizations should continue, but I think that's retail. I think that about as far as, say, Mr. Kanash gets here in Kyiv, and I'm sure he does his job well, but he lives the good life here in Kyiv. To the best Ukraine war blogger, Jake, who I'm very friendly with, by the way, they handle the retail side. $1 million in 1 week. 4 times he's done it. And that's, I don't know anybody who could do that but Jake, bro. But for a fraction of a fraction of a fraction, Mine's better. It's sophisticated, it's educated, it's deliberate, it's focused. It took a long time for them to develop, to implement, for me to go around and do everything to decide exactly what I was going to do with them. It took about 8 months, based on all my knowledge, my experience, my contacts, my heart, my instinct. But here's the thing. If you gave me $1 million like you did Jake in a week, you'd ruin me. I wouldn't know how to spend it, and that's the truth. But 20,000 worth of drone components on top of everything else I do, I can do that. I could do more. I could do more. What I could do with $50,000 a month, I don't know if I could be as effective with 100. I don't. But I've taken consistently $20,000 to $40,000 a month since I got blowing up in 22. Every month. Went a little bit funky the first month when Gaza kicked off, as it did for everyone. There's the eco flows. People will need vehicles. People will need night vision. People will need whatever. I want to find a special donor, and I want to pick on NAFO. I want to find somebody who's prepared to donate $5,000 a month to the Marine Logistics Battalion and to talk to them and to have video calls with them. And then they would trust you more through me vetting you and, hell, if possible, meeting you in Europe. You could see what they do more than I would prepared to show on here. But all that, all else being considered, all else being equal, ceteris paribus, the drone components alone, if that could happen every month, every 2 months, no less than $10,000 till the end of this war, the end of me, and hopefully long after that, that is the best return on investment I have found. I have found. Absolutely. Hand on heart. Keep the Mavics flying, keep the Matrices flying, keep the Atels flying, keep the eyes in the sky that point out every P there and guide our FPVs. That those Mavics are men sitting in the trenches, that they advise them on their position, that exactly from a clock ray reference, where they're coming from. Eyes in the sky. And there's piles, thousands of drones just sitting in piles from every drone house around the country. Yes, it's the biggest shit show since World War II. And you're all part of it, you know? Everybody. I told the British parliamentarians, not in Parliament, I work like a modern day IRA bagman. With straight face, I told them that. If you don't know what that was, they used to go from Glasgow to Boston to New York, and everybody, regardless of social class, would pay their $20, $50, $1,000 every month to the bagman for the cause. It's not that different. It's not really different at all, because there's rich people, poor people, black people, white people, there's Jewish people, there's Nazi people, there's gay people, straight people, there's, okay, probably mostly Catholics back in the day in Boston. And the Kennedys. But yeah, this is something that transcends class and belief. The belief in Ukraine, and I think it means a lot of different things to a lot of us. It certainly does to me than to some of my comment section. But yeah, hand on heart, this is the best one I ever come across. Even better than the EcoFlows, that the cheap power stations that are essentially better than EcoFlows. This is it. Want to do other things, but I would always want to do this. I'd even be happy if somebody was to contribute every month. If they were willing to fork up the big money themselves, then you could pay them directly, the suppliers, if you're willing to pay that much. And then I would just be the honest broker in between. That would actually be better for me. But who's got 20 grand a month to kick up to that? Anyway, I've got to go have a shower now. I had a good run. I won't tell you what I'm doing now, but I'm in the best training cycle that I've ever been in, for ATLS, for Advanced Trauma Life Support. Yeah, there's some really high-speed training going on here in Kyiv. But yeah, donate to me when you can. You got to buy me a coffee. You got both PayPals. You got e-transfer from Canada, my Aunt Jennifer. You got my bacs. You got Revolut. I will continue this. I ain't gonna stop. It can be a little or it can be a whole lot, but it will just continue in whatever proportion I have to work with. Drone components, drone components, drone components, drone components, monorail, monorail, monorail.